Alright, House of Payne fans, here's my review on last night's episode, Season 11, Episode 3, entitled Bagmen. And to read the synopsis, Curtis uses his street resources, as we learn in the episode. I believe the name of the person he bought the truck from, Gorilla Mafia 187. In the black market. He uses his resources to acquire a beat up food truck for his barbecue business, only to learn the truck was used for something other than food. And then the second part of the synopsis, Malik and Lisa fight over roles. Now, to be completely honest, I didn't care too much for this episode. I remember when I did my video going over every single episode synopsis of season 11, and then last week around this time, of course, I did my trailer breakdown, and I was excited thinking, oh, this will be interesting. You got the food truck thing, which is typical tightwad cheapskate Curtis buying a beat up truck when he needs to buy a more dependable and I guess you could say clean vehicle if he wants to do a food business. But on top of that, the backstory of Malik and Lisa fighting over roles, I thought that was going to be interesting because I thought it would be in relation to their baby. Like, okay, who's going to feed and change the, diapers and whatnot? Because, Malik's in school and working. And then, Lisa, it's just a typical, are they going to follow the quote unquote stereotypical dynamic of a couple with a child? Or will they learn about compromising that it isn't about gender roles in raising a child? It's about making sure the child is taken care of. So basically, when it comes to Malik and Lisa, they shouldn't rely on stereotypical notions of, the man works and makes the money while the woman is pregnant and barefoot, that kind of thing. However, this episode really dove into the preachy PSA part of the spectrum, as opposed to weaving in. Remember in season 10 I said that I thought it was a lot better than season 9. There were some misses, but there are far more hits in that season, and each episode truly felt like, okay, well, there's an A plot, B plot, sometimes even a C plot. And each one of them has its own moral lessons, like, oh, the importance of voting, making sure you research candidates before you even cast a vote, racial stereotypes, being able to consider your own health in regards to not, just being unhealthy, not exercising, gun safety, and the list goes on. But this episode, it just felt like a lot of the messaging, specifically with the Malik and Lisa storyline, which bled over into Calvin, CJ, and Laura, it felt very forced. And that whole thing was about, pay gaps and pay disparity, and the fact that, a woman who could be in a higher position in the company than a man would still make less than the man who's in a lower position. She can be vice president, or she could be president of a division. A man could be vice president, but the man is still making more than her. It just felt way too forced. I really would have liked it if we saw more of a Malik and Lisa situation where they focus more on, okay, how are we going to divvy up responsibility for the baby? Also, nice touch. I think there was a moment in the episode, specifically during the beginning, where Malik and Lisa were at Curtis's house and we saw the baby stroller in the corner near the, closet. That way it's like, hey, we're not going to show a baby on screen, but the stroller's there to remind you, hey, these two have a kid. But to be honest, I don't think this review is going to be 10 minutes, maybe not, because like I said, I kind of just spoke about what I kind of didn't care for at the beginning. And Lisa, wow, you take off the baby bump, she looked amazing in this episode. Don't get me wrong, last week I thought she looked amazing in her different lawyer, doctor, all these different careers she was daydreaming about. But in this episode, she was particularly, just bad, even down to her kicks. It was just wow. But okay, so let me just get to it real quick. Calvin's happy because an international client wants to use his, social media or digital platform to distribute their content in America. And as a result, he's talking about getting, securing the bag, hence why the episode is called Bagmen. And, Ella doesn't know about what bag means or, what it means to make, get bands, basically a lot of money. Curtis comes in because he got that rickety pickup, the truck for his food. And, he's excited about, securing the bag as well, which is cool to see these two bond, like, hey, the Payne men are doing well for themselves. Ella, rightfully says you need to get a truck that represents your quality food. And, Curtis is like, oh, I can't do that, which is, within anybody's, persona, like, hey, there's nothing that can physically represent the essence, the taste of my food. But if you're running a food business, you need to have not only a dependable truck, but a truck that people want to approach. I'm not saying it has to be brand spanking new, but I doubt somebody wants to go to a rusty old rig. Well, then again, you see those memes where it's like, your food is going to be fire when you go to a restaurant and the chair looks like this, it's like a beat up chair, or like it's an old school deli menu up there on the wall. But yeah, you want to go to a vehicle that looks like it's clean. So I think he said he got the truck because if he has it ready within the next 2 days, he's securing a spot at a, like a food vendor arena, kind of like, in a park or an open area where there are a lot of food vendors there. And there's about like 65 people that could be in line per hour, just based on the area they'll be in. So Lisa is like, president of maintenance and whatnot. Basically, she's calling around to a bunch of repair places to see who can get the lowest repair costs or transmission and whatnot, while Malik is actually outside doing the manual labor, trying to fix the transmission and whatnot. So from there, we go over to Lisa being pissed as Malik goes through a box and then finds just a bag full of money. And as soon as the money came out, it was Lisa, Malik, Curtis, and Ella. Keep in mind, Lisa was pissed because she found out that she was only going to get 10% equity, whereas Malik was going to get 15%. So, as soon as they went into the, men and women, yada, 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 I kind of zoned out. And no, I'm not saying that, people shouldn't be paid a fair wage. It's just this plot felt so generic. So it just didn't feel like it was worth me talking about. And don't worry, I'll get over to the CJ and Laura and Calvin stuff. But I'm kind of just taking care of this stuff, as it happens. So as soon as the money came out, I'm like, Lord, are we doing the same thing from the Paynes where Terrence, I believe, found the bag of cash in the laundromat, and then Ella opted to put it in the bank and yada, yada, yada. But in this episode, this was an interesting take because Malik and Lisa were all excited, but then Ella was like, no. So what's up? What's going on in that truck, Curtis? No, I bought it on the black market. And as soon as he said the black market and said, like, Guerrilla Mafia 187, it's funny how Malik and Lisa are like, nope, we don't want no part of this. We ain't getting shot up over this bag of money, because Malik is like, he found these sticky notes like, don't use this water. It's something about a biohazard. And don't use this syringe after it's already been used on another person. So, yeah, there was a lot of shady stuff going on in that truck business. And basically, I think a few minutes earlier, Lisa said that, oh yeah, a tow truck's going to come to get the truck to go to a repair shop. And Ella was like, no, you get rid of that truck and get a newer one. And it's not that Ella was being insufferable. She was being, very reasonable, because if you want people to come to your business, you want to make sure it looks good. So from there, later in the episode, we find out that Curtis did take the truck back, and at the very end of the episode, Curtis is cooking on the grill, and Lisa stops by. She has some contacts with the black market, and she actually got the bag back with the money, and then Curtis, throws it in like the garage or wherever, and essentially he guarantees that both her and Malik will make the same amount of money. But my question is this: why even put the bag back in the truck and go through all the trouble of getting it back? I mean, give the bag back, but then put some stuff in it, like, paper or magazines and whatnot, and keep the money. I mean, and I don't know, whatever. But essentially, I I guess the money is going to be hidden away. So there's that. I don't know. It's probably never going to come up again, let's be honest, because more often than not, House of Payne is episodic. And I know I said this review would be less than 10 minutes. Oops. But okay, going over to the other plot, we have CJ going to see Laura and Calvin, and he needs to get his favorite cologne because Janine is on her way back. Sure she is. Okay, so there's a back and forth about Lisa, having, more equity in Curtis's business than Malik. I guess because Lisa assumed that her position would pay more than Malik, that, she was happy about it. And, it's the whole thing about Malik being older, having more experience, being family, that kind of stuff. And as a result, there's a back and forth about the usage of air quotes and pay gaps and whatnot. And I'm sorry, it's not that interesting to me. But when it comes down to it, CJ got Calvin access to the firefighter directory. So essentially, it's almost like a who's who that Calvin is distributing the client's content to. Ella's church group, basically everybody in the church, the firefighter directory, Lisa's former quote-unquote clients. And he cracked the algorithm and then sent the links. And it turns out that it was streaming pornography or adult content. And Calvin is freaking out because he can't cancel the stream, because if he does, his contract is canceled, meaning he's losing all that money. So he's freaking out. Him and CJ rush over to Curtis's house in order to make sure his mom doesn't see what's on the stream when she gets on her phone. And CJ, I think, snatched the phone up. And then it turns out, Curtis walks in. He's making all this dialogue about, ooh, that's hot. That's nasty. But then it actually turns out he's talking about a food truck video. And apparently, even though the client's content was dirty, the only people that would actually get the streams or the advertisements on their phones or digital devices are those who already have porn in their phones and whatnot. Essentially, if your algorithm doesn't have adult content usually on it, then you're more than likely not going to get the the stream. So everything's all well and good. But I guess the main thing is, aside from the whole pay wage thing, make sure you read what's on the dotted line, because something tells me, as Calvin himself said, I was so wrapped up in the money, I didn't even consider what kind of, content this client wanted to stream. So it's almost, because I get these emails a lot myself, but I can't tell what's legit or not. People ask me, hey, do you have any sponsors on YouTube yet? I mean, you got a great following and you get decent views, but no, I don't have any sponsors yet, like Skillshare or anything. I get emails like, about hair care products, and then I've gotten some sketchy emails that I deleted. And it just goes to show that I wouldn't feel comfortable promoting something or allowing my platform to promote something if I wasn't 100% sure what it was. Not only that, I wouldn't want to promote something that either I or someone close to me wouldn't use in their own life. Like, obviously, I wouldn't promote any kind of feminine product because I'm male. And then on top of that, yeah, Calvin, this could have went really bad. It could have went really bad. So just make sure before you go into business with somebody, you ensure that you know everything. You show that you know everything there is to know about this partner or client. That way, if they do try to sneak something in there with some sort of, not even a loophole, but they try to spring something on you that you didn't agree to in your contract, you could sue them for it. So there's that. But yeah, that's all I got to say about it. 4 out of 10. This was a skippable episode, to be completely honest. And it was good to see Laura. It was good. So I guess no word on their marriage, not to mention the condo. Remember that he signed it over to be sold last season. So I don't know. This definitely felt fillerish. So there we go. All right. So thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit subscribe and hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel.